And so here is the methodology that we use in our work. We continue at the center, we continue doing our work at Plan, we continue sharing this work, but we also pay more attention to how to change the laws and how to impact on the cultural beliefs toward people with disabilities. And we do this by inspiring people to understand the gifts. So this is our methodology. And what I'd like to do is tell you about two strategies. The first one on your left, is the Registered Disability Savings Plan. And I told you that in Canada, I don't know what it's like in Japan, but in Canada, people with disabilities are service rich. They are rich in programs, but they are cash poor. So we flipped that around and said, maybe one of the biggest handicaps is the financial poverty of people with disabilities. Maybe if people had their own money, with support or not, they could do as good a job as the big infrastructure of programs and services that creates more dependence. So we wanted to shift it around. And so we were successful in convincing our federal government, our national government in Canada in 2008 to create, I believe it's the only one in the world's first registered disability savings plan. And the basic program offers anyone who applies, and it's very easy to apply, an opportunity to put a little bit of money or a lot of money, and it gets matched by the government 3-to-1 or 2-to-1, depending on your income. And on top of that, there is what we call a government disability savings plan of $1,000 a year for 20 years. So this is a program that enables people with disabilities to save money. It enables anybody to contribute to enable them to save money, and for them to build up their cash assets so that they can purchase what they want, whether it's a home. In my case, my daughter has this dream that she will have her own small apartment. This is her dream. So she earns a little bit of money from her paintings, as I described earlier. She puts that in to her program, and so the money she earns gets tripled by the government. This program is fairly new, and already there is over $1 billion collective assets in the bank accounts of people with disabilities in Canada. Now, we are a much smaller country than Japan, but we expect that the market, the disability market, is going to be $80 billion. $80 billion. Now, this surprises many people. Can you imagine the psychological change that is happening in Canada to people with disabilities? When I speak to audiences and I ask who has a disability savings plan, people raise their hand, and for the first time, they are treated as a consumer as opposed to a client. They are no longer a client of a welfare system, of a government benefit system, but instead they have the means to make their own choice in their decision. So this is a very important psychological shift. And we now see that all the banks and credit unions in Canada offer this registered disability savings plan product. So they offer it, so they are in competition now. So what we have seen is we are starting a disability market in Canada. And this is our biggest bank, and this is an example of a small little commercial. Our own organization has a partnership with it, so you can see our logo up on the right-hand corner. And we teach this bank how to market to people with disabilities and their families, and in return, we earn revenue that we can use to improve our programs in our mother organization. My big plan, and maybe there are people in this room who can help, is to teach people that as a group, people with disabilities and their families collectively are very rich. And we can look at ourselves as being poor and look only to government and to charities for support, or we can begin to amalgamate our resources and begin to have an impact much similar to a pension plan or something like that. So this is what we are working on right now. I need to ask a question. I forgot to turn my clock on, so I don't know how much time I have left. Can somebody help me? 15? 1-5? Okay. The next program I want to tell you about is ties. So I told you already about the tremendous concern we have about the social isolation of people with disabilities. But as we began our work, we realized that this was not unique to, to people with disabilities. That this was happening to older people. This was happening to people who were patients in hospitals. This was happening to people who were taking care of their parents or taking care of people with disabilities. And so this problem, this challenge of social isolation was more widespread. Is this true in Japan? Would you agree with this? I'm asking if anybody here could let me know, but is what I'm talking about only true in North America, or are you confronted in your country by the challenge of social isolation? It's pretty much the same? Okay. Do you have an example? Are there examples of groups of people in your country who may be experiencing social isolation?
Well, if you go to the countryside, there are tons of people left out. Well, if you go to countryside, all the younger people goes out to like Tokyo or Osaka and the big cities, and left out the old people, and they don't even have accessibility to stores and even the banks, and they are in isolation.
Okay.
And next door is like far away.
Right.
They are not living very close to one another.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much the same, and also disability situation, it's all the same. Even our case is worse, I think, because the government, well, Japanese government is not doing much at this moment. So, up to 18 years old or so, people can go to school with disabilities, but after that, they have no place to go to, and the families has to take care of them.
Okay.
But the parents are getting old, family members like sisters and brothers. For them, disability person becomes big burden.
Okay.
So it's pretty much the same. You don't know what to do with elderly parents. You don't know what to do with kids with a disability.
Okay.
That's what I think.
All right. Thank you.